Have you ever met someone that tried to monopolize your time, take up your space, and use up your energy, but then will turn around and remind you that you guys were not in a relationship? Or have you ever met someone that would make love to you, but then try to shame you and embarrass you for developing feelings? Or have you ever met someone that tried to keep tabs on your whereabouts, try to make sure they knew where you were and when you were going there, but then constantly remind you that you guys were not together? Mixed messages. That's what we're talking about in this letter. Why do men send them and why do women receive them? Welcome to What Was He Thinking? My name is A.B. Bracewell. Today I'm going to be your personal tour guide through a man's psyche. Take this journey as we explore why a man thinks the way he thinks, why a man acts the way he acts, and why a man feels the way he feels. No question is off limits, and no topic is too hard. By the end of the show, you'll have a better understanding and a better insight of who we are as men.
And now it is time for today's letter. I have been in a relationship with a guy, or shall I say a situationship, for about a year now. We get along well. We can laugh and talk about almost anything, and the lovemaking is great. We do just about everything that a normal couple would do, except for the most important thing. There is no commitment. It has been a year, and every time we have an argument, a disagreement, or I question him about his behavior or whereabouts, he conveniently reminds me that we are not in a relationship, and he tells me that he is not ready for a relationship. This man has a toothbrush in my bathroom and clothes in my closet, for God's sake. His constant reminder that we are not in a relationship leaves me totally confused. There are so many women I know that deal with this game of emotional hokey pokey where men have 1 foot in and 1 foot out of the relationship. So my question to you is, why do men send these mixed messages to women? And that concludes the letter.
A major reason why men send mixed messages is because there's a lack of value in that situation. You said this has been going on for a whole year. To be honest with you, a guy can keep this on for another 10 years if you let him. You see, I've said this on the show before and I'll say it again. Stop thinking if you make yourself sexually available to a man, that that's going to make him emotionally available to you. It just doesn't work that way. See, when it comes to things like this and men setting value on women, it's very simple. When a man meets a woman, he automatically sets a certain value on her. And when he sets that value on her, that determines what category he's going to put her in. So if you continue to allow me to come over 2, 3, maybe 4 times a night, make these overnight deposits in you, but never stay long enough to make a real lifetime investment in you, we're going to set this value on you and we're going to put you in a certain category. If you meet a guy and after a couple of texts, after a couple of phone calls, after a couple of drinks, you give him this huge return on that small deposit, he's going to set a value on you and he's going to put you in a certain category. And one thing about us guys, once we put a woman in a category, once we put a certain value on her, it's very difficult for her to shift and move from one category to the next. Very rare would you see a woman turn from being a booty call to being wifey. Very rare would you see a woman turn from being in a situation where it's friends with benefits to being in a committed relationship. Men, we put things and we put people in compartments. The way we think, the way we act, everything is very compartmentalized. So what often happens after we put this certain value on you or put you in a certain category, what women often try to do, they try to raise their value in a man's eyes. And how do you try to raise this value? You think if you give him more sex, you think if you cook him more dinners, you think if you buy him more gifts, that he's going to one day see how good of a woman you are, and that's going to raise your value in his eyes. When in actuality, it's going to result in the complete opposite. You're not raising your value in his eyes. You're actually feeding the beast in him, because you're giving more, you're doing more, and he's giving you that same small deposit. So you're not raising your value. You're actually putting yourself on sale. You're actually selling yourself cheap now. And what often happens after you do that, after you start wondering, why doesn't this guy see how valuable you are? Why doesn't he see your worth? You start to question your own value, because you're giving more and you're doing more, and he hasn't changed his small deposits. If you want a man to stop sending mixed messages, then you have to raise your own value. You can't determine the value that you can't determine your value on his response of what you're giving. You have to look within yourself and realize your worth and your value. And then at that point, you stop giving. And then you see if he's going to keep giving those small deposits, or if he's going to raise his investments, or if he's going to decide to totally stop depositing at all. Because if you keep giving these huge returns on your investment when he's giving these small deposits, you're going to continue to get the same thing. And you're going to continue to receive these mixed messages. Another reason why guys often send these mixed messages is because there's a lack of respect for boundaries. You said this has been going on for an entire year. This guy has shown you that he's willing to say what it takes, willing to do what it takes in order for him to accomplish his goal. So this guy will infiltrate your life. He'll infiltrate the life of your children. He'll hang out with your family and your friends in order to get what he wants. See, there's no boundary that we're not willing to cross, but one. We're not willing to cross that boundary that separates you from being just a friends with benefits to being in a committed monogamous relationship. So we're very aware of boundaries, but we choose which boundary to respect and which one not to respect. So yeah, a guy would leave his clothes over there at your house. He'll leave his toothbrush at your house. He'll be in and out of your home. He would not respect that boundary, but he'll never step over that boundary and make you his. And the reason why a lot of guys that send mixed messages don't respect boundaries is because 9 times out of 10, the young lady is not showing any respect for her own boundaries. When you tell a man that you want a certain thing, you tell him you want this, but you continue to accept that, that shows you have no respect for your own boundaries. If you tell a man that you want to be in a committed monogamous relationship, but you continue to sleep with him, that shows that you have no respect for your own boundaries. If you allow this man to come in and out of your life, in and out of the life of your children, that shows that you have no respect for your own boundaries. And that's why he doesn't respect your boundaries either. A man will respect the boundaries that are set. And I guarantee you, if you start to set your own boundaries and stand firm on it, you will stop getting these mixed messages. Another reason why men send mixed messages is because there's a lack of direction. There's a scripture that says, a double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. You see, it's been a whole year, and you see that this guy is wishy-washy. He's proven that he's inconsistent. He's shown that there's a lack of direction and there's a lack of commitment on his side. Now, he's keeping you in this emotional purgatory where you're standing and waiting for him in this holding pattern. And you're waiting for him to make a decisive step towards you. But it's not happening. You're waiting for him to commit. You're waiting for him to to decide that you're the one for him, and it hasn't been happening for a whole year. This is proof that this is a man that lacks direction in his own life. And what's happening and what's allowing, what you keep allowing, is for this man to take you in a direction that you don't want to go into. You see that a man like this, I'm willing to do whatever it takes. I'm willing to do all these relationship things, but not put you in a relationship. And by this, I keep taking you in circles because I have no idea in what direction I want to take my life. Then as a result, I'm taking you in circles. So that's why you keep receiving these mixed messages. So in order for you to stop receiving these mixed messages from a guy that does not know what direction he want to take his life in, you have to decide what direction you want to take your life in. You have to set your own standards. You have to establish your own do's, your own don'ts. You have to create your own cutoffs. You have to know where you want to go with your relationships. Because if you don't, you're going to keep receiving these mixed messages, and he's going to keep taking you down a road that you don't want to go. So when it comes to mixed messages, for me to kind of sum it all up, and you can probably see from what I've been saying that in order to stop the mixed messages, you have to stop sending mixed messages. You have to set your own value on yourself. You can't tell a man that you want this thing and then you accept the other. You have to establish your own boundaries. You can't have a man giving you what you don't want and allowing him to disrespect boundaries that you put up when you don't stand on the own boundaries that you set. And you have to take your life in a direction that you want it to go. Because a man that's sending mixed messages, he's confused. And you're showing just how confused you are by following him in a direction that you don't want to go.